Okay, so I'm getting asked a lot about how I've got my Keeler sound. There's his guitar there, just for you to see it. So it's got the that's how tuners these are. These was put on by somebody. I can't imagine they were original. See, the glow was, it could be, some of them came in, the screw holes are the same, no extra holes, so you never know. Brass nut. Godfrey, as Godfrey did those. Fret wire stainless and jumbo for sure. The strings are Ernie Ball. Let me tell you what strings they are. They're Jesse strings, 5075 105s. Keeler strings. The other ones, he was using them for quite some time. So I'm using those. I think I've even got some of them. I'll put some somewhere. This is artist wristband I got. That's the tape that came on the back of the guitar. Don't know if you can see that. There's a pick in somewhere, I believe. A couple of picks in there. Yeah, so get the strings, get the picks, then you're off with the guitar front. The scratch plates, pretty warm. Bits broken. Bit wear on it now, I've put some use into it. Kent Armstrong pickup. Oops. Kent Armstrong pickup, double blade. That thing is extremely loud. Not sure you can see what's on the back of that. Let's have a look. Set something in there. Can't remember what that is. Not sure, it's not focusing. So, yeah, 1970 Armstrong. Let's go for bridge. Made for Jesse. Brass saddles again. It's quite a rare Armstrong because it came with the switch. The switch was disengaged by Guitar Tech. So it's always on the load setting. This knob was modified by Jesse and raised higher than the other one. Dropped it since because it was getting in the way pretty much for all the songs. I think he used it for certain songs maybe. Right, okay, so I'm running an acoustic 260 Mark II. Shipped it from the States, American spec, never produced them for any other part of the world. It's got a 1x10. I think it's like a PA speaker. It looks identical to the one Jesse has in one of his cabinets. He replaced them with all these speakers. I think it's like I don't know, like a generic PA speaker maybe. And then the bottom's ported right there, big slot there where the sound gets projected out. And this is loud. This is a loud amp for the size. So it's not a very big amp, but it's very loud. So, but there's my settings. To give you an idea what I'm running this at. I'm not using a lot of overdrive on it. Well, I tell you why the overdrive's up full, but the overdrive level's down on that because I push that with this. So we'll get back to that. So that's the one amp, and then in stereo, which come out of the Ibanez. Again, that's Keeler's pedal there. Comes out in stereo into my amp peg, and that's a micro VR. It's mic'd up, but don't worry about that. I've never sent anything to Instagram with it mic'd up at this point. Very low 200 watt amp. And these are Eminence speakers, which is Jesse's favourite speakers. Just came with that, so we lucked out. The gain, I'm trying to keep this one as neutral as I can as I get pushed by the CVLT Deluxe pedal. So the gain is up at 12 o'clock. There's a few adjustments. The treble's up because it's obviously the bass sample. I need to get a bit of treble out of it. So nothing modified about that. So comes out of the bass, goes into my tuner, straight out of the tuner into the Morley. Is it Morley? No. Ernie Bouloir, which is the one Jesse has been using forever. It doesn't break. He uses it for things like romantic rights. So it comes out of the wah into the carbon copy. Again, same pedal as Jesse's. That's usually switched on. It's quite bright, so I leave it off for now, but that's usually on because it modulates the delay. Extra rubber on there to move my foot. Jesse's got a big knob on there which he uses with his foot just to get some kind of feedback and almost like a looper pedal. Comes out with the MXR carbon copy. Those settings are usually the same. This is the one that I modify to get the warbling effect and the real high pitched stuff in between songs. It comes out of there, straight into this, and then you can see the settings on that. Again, as per Keeler's, pretty much, and that only exists in his board because that pickup is so hot. So when he got these Armstrongs, the first thing, and he got Kent Armstrong to build those pickups for him, he realised it was crazy loud, and he got one of these, and he pushed this gain down. I think he pushed it down here, but this is it. He's cracked back up basically. Obviously my setup's slightly different, of course. I'm not playing live through two 8x10s. So I've brought the gain, still not 0, it's more like -5. So that comes out of the MXR EQ 10 band, straight into this. This is one of the first pedals I got, and instantly, that's a very big part of Keeler's sound, and those settings are Keeler's. So you've got your speed and your width. There's a maxim which has other functionality, but I'm not sure how you would set those. Maybe 12 o'clock because you don't want to interfere with these two settings. And they're very important because they fire the sound back and forth the amps at a certain width and a certain rate. And these 2 points are then running the signal separate at these 2 points, and one's run into this amp and one's run into the PV Fate behind me. So let's deal with one first. So we come out of there, we run straight into the Crybaby Q Zone, which is the same as Jesse's. He's just got the I don't know, something fucking King version, which is just a different spray job. But this is the original pedal. Again, the settings are the same. This is used on Trainwreck right through the song, and a few others, just to emphasize certain parts. That then runs directly into this, and these two are never on together unless I'm trying to do some crazy feedback stuff with this thing. But during songs, these are always separate. This is Fox Rocks Octron 3. Jesse's got 2 of these, an older version and this exact version. I think he sets them separately for 2 different songs, so he's not playing around with these controls in between songs. He's jumping one straight into the other. Maybe I can't imagine they're on together at any point because there's not a lot you couldn't do with just one of these really. So this, the way it's set up currently, is kicked in to emphasize certain parts of songs, gets kicked in numerous locations, and then this down octave, the sub octave, which is off because it's obviously I've gone up, and the direct, that one I changed that one to full when I'm playing things like God, I can't remember what it's called now. There's a song where you boost the low octave. Can't remember what it is. But then that used to go into this boogie amp, which is a guitar amp, tube amp. Never thrilled with that on bass. Great on guitar, not very good on bass. But this amp absolutely kills it as a bass amp. But this thing, every video you see of Jesse or picture in the studio, there is always a fuzz war on the floor, leading up to the tour of, well, leading up to the two tours they've just done, for the Heads Up EP, and prior to that for the Outrageous Now tour. This was in his studio a lot. I got a sneaky suspicion this tours with him, but we never really see it. So what this does is then pushes that sound of this amp to the point where it's exactly his sound. So it's a multitude of things, I think. And I've looked at settings online that he's got. I've never asked him directly, but it's there. So that's everything that runs into this amp. Then this one's a bit simpler because it goes from there directly into the CVLD T Deluxe, and those settings on there are identical to Jesse's amp at this point, to his PV F800B, and it was quite instantaneous. The key to this pedal is that overdrive. He maxes his overdrive out, and I have with this. If that is turned a fraction off full, the distortion kind of disappears, or the overdrive. For some reason, the last millimeter gives you the full distortion. Ridiculous but true. So this is fully on, powering the other amp. Yeah, and that cable there goes direct to it. Obviously you've got a line out if you want to get it straight into the recording, but this goes straight to the amp. And that's pretty much it. His system now, I think he's got a few other pedals preceding this. In this area he's got a couple more pedals depending on what he's trying to do. I think there was the white pedal and all sorts of things, which was like a Vox preamp, but that was just specific for the Helter Skelter song, I think, that he did on Strombo, which is actually in the background there. So that doesn't exist in his current live setup. I hope that helps. If you want one of these, Les is a really good friend of mine. I could convince him to get you another one made, even though he says he's not making any more. I think he still has some stock. I can't remember what I paid for this. He did me a really good deal. Not this one, this is Jesse's, but I had one made. I basically took my reissue and did exactly the same customization to it as Keeler's. Other than the fret wire, which they're brand new frets pretty much, even though this is a 98, it's mint. It's my backup guitar. Everything's the same, the action's the same. Fret wire is not, but the action's the same. That's a slightly bigger bridge in some proportions because different hole positions on the reissues. Switch is still active, I haven't rewired any of it. That's a very bright guitar pickup in there, which is almost the same output as the one in Jesse's. Actually gets me very close to the sound. I haven't carved the heel down, which has been done on Jesse's. It's much wider there than Keeler's, as the old ones are. They're a lot narrower there and they're a lot flatter to the board. I'll show you now. That's the distance there. If you look at Keeler's, I don't know if you can see that, but there's next to nothing on that. It's very close. And then that timber in this area has been removed, so there's no, I mean, it pretty much gets into the body of the guitar without any restriction. And there's not a lot at the start, so I've got a sneaky feeling that the last part there has been shaved. In fact, I think he talks about it. You can almost see it as well, but I'm just more weighing how far you get up the neck. Still plays great. Truss rod just needs tightening up every now and again due to the weather. But apart from that, it's an absolute monster, I think, with this sound. So yeah, there you go. Just give you a rundown. That says distortion, but that's actually the volume for the distortion, which is a bit strange. If you turn that all the way up and that all the way down, you get nothing. So yeah. There you go. These two you could probably do without. Don't need these. Probably don't really need that one. You'll probably get away without that one. It does brighten, but that setting brightens the sound. Kind of punches the mids up a little bit. Obviously pulls the gain up a little bit. Don't really need that one. This one's rarely used, really. That's critical. Definitely that one. That's super critical to get the actual PV sound of that amp over there, because that is uncannily good. That's amazing, that sound from that pedal. That's his actual sound, there's no question about it. And I've managed to get this acoustic amp with that pedal to give me another kind of quite dirty overdrive. So I'm just boosting the overdrive now with this fuzz. It's the fuzz that, oh sorry, the fuzz is up 3/4. I've run it a 1/4 to 12 at some points, but I've kind of settled on that. The volume's up, so I'm pushing this one amp, and that's it. There's no real mystery to it, but this, for my sound right now, as close as I can get it to his, that's critical. That's definitely critical for the other amp, because without that, that amp is good, but it's nowhere near the sound. And this one is funneling the sounds back and forth at that speed. And if this is off, it sounds too flat. Doesn't sound like Death from Above, really. And that's kind of it, my friend. There we go. See ya.